Exclusive tonight, the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office set out to find ways to shift some of its resources to violence. What they found is drug cases are costing this community in more ways than one. This man has seen the problem from all perspectives.
I was a drug dealer. I sold drugs, and I was a participant in the use of drugs.
Now he's the clinical director at the Wayne D. White Recovery Center at 45th and Troost.
We recognized that while you were out there, you missed a lot of things in life. And what we want to do is come in and fill those gaps so that you can be successful going forward.
Drug cases and the defendants at the heart of them are getting a closer look because Jackson County Prosecutor Gene Peters-Baker had a question.
What is my office spending the majority of its time on, or a bulk of its time on, and whether or not I could shift resources over to violence?
Henry Chapman, a data analyst, pulled cases from 2017 and 2019 where drugs were the primary charge.
We parsed and we searched each probable cause statement for really specific keywords relating to different types of drug cases.
Those cases, around 1,400 each year, make up the largest category of any case referred by Kansas City Police. According to an estimate adjusted for inflation, each drug case costs more than $140,000 with an annual price tag of around $200 million.
That's not just the prosecutors. That's everything from the detectives to the court costs, to the lawyer fees, to paying my salary, to paying for drug treatment.
4 out of every 5 of those cases were for possession.
When you look at drug use, you often don't look at the humanity and the experience that is going on that creates the depth of mental illness that we're dealing with.
The average possession case that you're getting through your office, what does that person look like?
They're poor, almost uniformly not Caucasian. I think they're individuals that, have a whole lot of other issues and not much opportunity.
Most of those cases also come from one area of the city. If you look at this map, it closely mirrors the redlining map that divided this city along racial lines years ago.
What we know about drugs is that they're used by all racial demographics in about the same amount. You can buy drugs probably in any part of the city that you wanted to go find them. But this appears to us that those buy-bus operations are all east of Troost and south of Independence Avenue.
Who lives there?
Those would represent minority communities.
The same community where Stan Archie is working on recovery.
If you're looking for the problem to be here, you won't notice it anywhere else.
Kansas City Police declined our request for an on-camera interview, but in a statement said the cases are based on investigated criminal activity alongside documented evidence of that criminal activity.
We're still waiting to have a kind of robust meeting with police where they share, their position, they share why they go down certain pathways, why they investigate the way they do.
Rape, homicide, aggravated assault. And we found that 25% of drug defendants had one of those cases in the last 5 years. For buy-bus defendants or drug delivery defendants, we found that percentage increased to 36%.
Did those results surprise you?
They did surprise me because we are taught kind of in the culture that drugs and violence are intrinsically connected.
Drug bust cases increased more than 60% in 2 years. Black defendants also made up about 80% of them.
I thought it was really startling. I reran the numbers a few ways because I thought I could have made a mistake initially, but that rerun of analysis each time proved to corroborate the findings.
My question is, why do you care now?
Well, I've always cared, but when you see that data, you have to address it. There's no other answer.
Archie isn't surprised by the findings.
We don't seek to solve the core issues that are driving the problem. If you had a leaky faucet and it was water all over the floor, you would spend so much more money fixing that, keeping that floor clean. But you could take a portion of that money and fix the faucet and then clean up the mess.
This data was shared with a community advisory board on Tuesday, including a positive trend for drug cases. It seems to be that the timeline is shortening.
Yes, so the reason for that, I noticed that pretty stark decrease in time to was a policy change.
KCPD can test potential drugs more quickly, and cases are getting through the system in practically half the time. Another bright spot, prosecution and sentences were nearly equal, no matter what race the defendant was.
That is probably based on many years of training prosecutors to think about equity, to think about race, rather than that notion of, justice is blind. It's not, and we all know that.
Now, Baker wants to craft a new policy that takes some of the drug cases off her prosecutors' desks.
You know what I want them to spend their time on is violence. Violence. 600 non-fatal shootings have happened this year in Kansas City. And you know what our homicide rate is. We really are in crisis right now. I want to prosecute cases that make Kansas City safer.
You can take a deeper dive into the data at kshb.com or check out our mobile app. We look forward to bringing you an update once the prosecutor, police, and people in the community can come together to discuss what a new policy in Kansas City could look like.